I sat there at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, feeling absolutely nothing. That's the worst part about rock bottom. It's not the pain, it's the emptiness. The numbness that creeps in when you've spent so long running from yourself that you forget who you even are. My life looked fine on the outside. I had a job, a routine, people around me. But inside, I was drowning in my own mediocrity, suffocating under the weight of unfulfilled potential. And the scariest part was that I had accepted it. I had convinced myself this was just how life was supposed to feel. If you've ever felt that quiet desperation, that voice whispering that there has to be more to life than this, then what I'm about to tell you might just save you years of regret. Because 90 days ago, I made a decision that didn't just change my habits. It changed my entire soul. I was the person who hit snooze 7 times every morning. The person who scrolled through social media for hours, watching other people live while I wasted my own life. I numbed myself with distractions, with comfort, with excuses. I told myself I was too tired, too stressed, too busy to change. But the truth, I was too afraid. Afraid that if I actually tried and still failed, I'd have to accept that maybe I was just meant to be ordinary. So I stayed small. I stayed safe. I stayed miserable. My relationships were surface level. My health was deteriorating. My dreams had become these distant fantasies I'd laugh about after a few drinks, saying maybe one day, while knowing that day would never come. I had become a ghost in my own life, just going through the motions, waiting for something to happen to me instead of making something happen. Then came the breaking point. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't a tragedy. It was something worse. It was a quiet, ordinary Tuesday morning when I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back. The light in my eyes had gone out, and in that moment, something cracked open inside me. Not hope, not motivation, something deeper. It was the raw, terrifying realization that if I didn't change right now, I would spend the rest of my life wondering what I could have become. So I made a promise to myself. 90 days of complete dedication to becoming someone I could respect. No half measures, no excuses, just pure, uncomfortable, transformative discipline. I started with cold showers. Every single morning, before my mind could wake up enough to talk me out of it, I'd step into freezing water. And let me tell you, those first 30 seconds felt like death. My body would scream, my mind would panic, everything in me wanted to run. But I stayed, because I realized something profound in that cold. I had spent my entire life running from discomfort, and in doing so, I had run from growth, from strength, from the very thing that would set me free. Those cold showers became my daily reminder that I was stronger than my excuses, that I could do hard things, that comfort was the enemy of the person I wanted to become. Then came meditation. 10 minutes every morning, sitting in complete silence with my own thoughts. At first, it was torture. My mind raced with anxiety, with to-do lists, with regrets. But slowly, something shifted. I started to see my thoughts for what they were, just thoughts. Not truths, not commands. Just mental noise that I could observe without being controlled by it. I learned to create space between stimulus and response. To choose my reactions instead of being a slave to my emotions. And in that space, I found something I hadn't felt in years: peace. Not the fake peace you get from distraction, but real, earned peace that comes from finally being honest with yourself. But here's what nobody tells you about transformation. It gets worse before it gets better. Around day 20, I wanted to quit so badly. My old self was fighting for survival, throwing every excuse at me. You're doing too much. You're being extreme. Nobody else has to live like this. Why are you making life so hard? And some days, I believed those voices. Some days, I failed. I missed a meditation. I took a warm shower. I stayed up too late. But here's the thing I learned. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about getting back up. It's about the decision you make after you fail that defines who you become. So every time I fell, I got back up. Not because I was strong, but because I was tired of being weak. By day 60, people started noticing. Not because I told them what I was doing, but because I was different. I carried myself differently. I spoke differently. I showed up differently. My eyes had that light back. My energy had shifted from desperate and scattered to calm and purposeful. I was sleeping better, thinking clearer, moving with intention. But the biggest change? I had stopped seeking validation from the outside world because I had finally found it within myself. I had proven to myself that I was capable of keeping promises to myself. And that changes everything. Now here I am at day 90, and I barely recognize the person I was 3 months ago. But here's the real truth. This isn't about cold showers or meditation or any specific routine. It's about the decision to stop being a victim of your own life. It's about realizing that every day you wake up is another chance to become who you were meant to be. You don't need 90 days to start. You need 90 seconds of courage to step into that cold water, literal or metaphorical, and prove to yourself that you're done playing small. So here's what I learned. First, discomfort is the price of growth. If you're always comfortable, you're not growing. Second, discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Third, you don't need to wait for motivation. You need to act first, and motivation will follow. Fourth, the person you're becoming is more important than the person you've been. And finally, the only person who can save you is you. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you fall back into your old patterns, do one thing that scares you. Take a cold shower, sit in silence. Write in a journal, whatever it is. Choose discomfort over comfort just once. Because that's how it starts. Not with a complete life overhaul, but with one brave decision. And if you can do it once, you can do it again and again, until one day you wake up and realize you're not the same person anymore. You're the person you always knew you could be. The only question left is, are you ready to meet them?